Hello out there, my name is Laolu Akonde and you are on to Inside Sources. Today I'm skipping my take for two important segments, opening with an interview with Dr. Olu Agunloye, the National Secretary of the SDP who has been in the news lately, and a second segment with Nigeria's leading star in the Nigerian diaspora, Professor Ferdinand Ofodile, who was the first black man to become an emeritus professor of plastic surgery in an American top university. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, I'm opening the show with a conversation with the National Secretary of the Social Democratic Party, who most people will recall was also the foundation, that's the inaugural Corps Marshal of the FRSC in 1988 up until 1992. He was also a former university lecturer. I'd like to welcome to Inside Sources Dr. Olu Agunloye. It's good to see you on Inside Sources. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, good, good. So, it's a conversation on the future of our country. But we have to pause that because there's something that is happening at the moment. This declaration of the state of emergency in Rivers State, and then the sacking of the governor and the entire legislature. What's your own take on this?
Personally, this is a very disappointing moment for me. It's a sad moment. But I'd like to tell you that my party has an official position on it. So I'll tell you that. Right. And I'll tell you my own personal opinion. My party's opinion on this is that that action of the president is unconstitutional and really unwarranted. And above all, it appears that government or the president of government did not think it deeply, think it through. Okay, it was like hurriedly done and hastily done and badly done. It may have consequences, I don't know. But my own personal view, that there are three players here, okay, and none of them did well. One is Wike himself. Second one is Fubara. Third one is their father, President of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Yeah. They didn't handle this thing well at all, from beginning throughout until the position. Okay, because president should have been in a position, whether they are in the same party or not. As an elder, as a senior to them, and only senior position, commanding position on both of them, should have. I mean, this is political. It happens every day. Okay, we saw it happen even between that Wike and his father at that time. Right. So, but let's move to why we went.
Exactly. While at it, we're going to move. I wanted to also say that what I found very confounding about it is the idea of an elected president. I am really worried, that even if the president got to the point that I think that, look, I can't take this anymore, then the next thing to do is to remove a governor and a state legislator. I just find that, because what signal does it send about our democracy? And then what signal does it send about our federation? We are a federal government. Independent people came together to form a federal unit, elected their leaders in the subnationals. And this is how you remove leaders in the subnational. I just find it very, very worrying, Dr. Gray.
I'm worried more about the implications of it. Okay, but I'm also convinced that we may not have seen the end of it. Okay, then the president could not have acted by himself alone.
Certainly.
So all those who goaded him or advised him or assured him also did not do well.
Okay, so let's just hope. Let's hope for the best. But I wanted to ask you, the SDP seems to have become the beautiful bride, of a lot of the opposition politicians, a lot of speculation after the defection of former governor of Kaduna State from APC to SDP, and then quite a lot of other people we've heard about former Vice President Atiku, former presidential candidate of LP, Mr. Peter Obi, and a large number of eminent politicians. So I wanted to ask you, tell us, what's the real thing, what's happening in SDP?
This is the season for it. I hope you know that.
Yeah.
We saw this in 2014, we saw it in 2017, we saw it in 2021. We're seeing it now, okay?
True.
But this appears to be more, and this bride aspect of it had always been there. In 2015, 2017, there was tendency for SDP. And I can tell you that two things are clear as a reason for this. One, government has not done well. Nigeria is not where it expected to be. Nigeria is not where you want it to be,
clearly,
or where even President Tinubu himself wanted it to be, or thinks it should be. Okay? And things have been getting worse and worse. So naturally, people are actually anxious to see if we can jump on the bandwagon for a change of the narrative and a change of government. Okay? And then now, but what makes SDP a bride? That is what we have been working on for years. That is what our elders, Father and other people left us with, handed over to us. The brand is good.
Yeah.
Us.
That was the MKO brand.
Us. Apart from being MKO, there's another reason. Okay? MKO won his election.
Yes.
Okay? But they did not decline. Then our former president came and gave us reasons recently.
Yes, recently,
okay?
Yeah.
Then now SDP is in 774 local governments in Nigeria.
So basically every local government.
Then in some of the local governments, even in the remote north, if you sing the old song that they used to sing for SDP of the other day, all of them will come out.
Respond.
Okay? Then the symbol of horse is good everywhere. Show of strength.
Yeah.
Show of purity, because this is a white horse.
Yeah.
Okay? And show of respect. Okay? And it's easy to understand.
So, can you confirm to us the people that have shown interest besides former governor of Kaduna State, or the people that Nigerians should expect will be trailing or rushing to SDP?
What I must confess to you,
yes,
the person who can do that, okay, correctly, is the national chairman.
Okay.
Okay, is the one who spoke to this. There's a long list. Okay, so when they asked me, I said that even Gilo sister spoke to us yesterday. Okay? That Tafawa Balewa is going to come. Okay, but I know that Mustafa had come because he came to the office to collect a membership card. Okay. El Rufai had come, and a couple of his former commissioner, a couple of his had come. And then, but I can't build on the speculation. I'm secretary of the party. If your name is not on our book, you have come, but you have not entered. Okay? So, and I know that I receive a lot of calls, because when you go on internet, you find my name is there, my number. Several people call and say that I don't know El Rufai, but because El Rufai came, I want to come. Okay, some people say, oh, El Rufai and I were this and this, and so it's bringing me along. So there's some effect, but it goes beyond that. We need to get organized. We need to settle issues that will not make us become counterproductive. And if we do that, okay, just imagine, for instance, Peter Obi, Atiku Rufai, Bafarawa, and every day come on the same platform.
Is it true
You have to
balance it? Somewhere find a way.
You have to do something.
But before we get to that, you know, I want to explore that. You know, but before we get to it, there are also rumors that people like Kwakwanso and have not. Have you also had the speculation?
I had speculation, but I said that I can never. If you want on that, you have to invite my chairman here.
Okay.
Okay. But for me, I can only refer to those
who have already. Okay.
But our books are open, our gates are open. So if all of them want to come, we will take them.
Okay. All right. So I want us to have a discussion about the kind of political tension that you will have if you have Peter Obi, Atiku, Kwakwanso, Bafarawa, you know, how you guys intend to manage that. I want to come to that. But before we get to that, I wanted to also ask you, you've been in the news yourself, you know, lately, you know, just before this defection, this decay of defection and the speculations around it, you know, that you wrote a petition to the Inspector General of Police, you know, about attempts to get you out of the party or to force you to resign, you know, and of course, it ended up in the media. I think I even read a place where you confirmed that, yes, you did indeed write the petition. Do you want to tell us what is really going on, Dr. Agunloye?
I'm amused because the explanation that me myself have read, I got amused. But it is true that I petitioned the IG, okay? And I petitioned the IG in a way that the IG himself cannot say I didn't see it. I got a lawyer who wrote to the IG and took it to the office of the IG, got it registered. Okay, and the IG gave us acknowledgement copy on Friday, 7th of March. That is 3 days before El-Rufai joined us. So it has nothing to do with El-Rufai. It also has nothing to do with you want to remove me, you don't want to remove me. In politics, that is what we do each time. I'm trying to unseat you so that my brother can be there or so I can be there. And then even if you go to police will say it does not concern them. There's nothing they can do about that. Okay? But I petitioned because my life was threatened. Crime was committed. Okay? And anybody can commit crime. Member of APC can come and try to hurt me. Member of SDP to SDP, people in my office can try to do that. Okay? So, and this had been persistent from January.
Wow.
Okay? From January. And in February, it was so terrible, okay, that when I come to the office, I must make sure somebody follows me so that people don't strangle me when I'm alone in my office. So it's not okay. Okay. They held a meeting and they confronted me sometimes in January. Then after that, the national chairman himself intervened. I said, "Oh, don't worry. I don't know why they are doing so. They should not do that to you, but ignore them."
So who are they?
Two people, especially the chairman of the SDP chairman of Plateau State, Abubakar Dogara, and the chairman of Nasarawa State, Musa Danlami.
So they actually came to your office?
Oh, yes. Okay, and they said they were acting on behalf of other people and other chairmen and so on. But Shehu Gaban, who is our chairman, is also my friend. Right. Okay, and I can say my family member because they don't burn me for Fulani, but we on Saturday, Sunday, after office, during office, I can go to his house and eat my lunch. Okay, so. And he intervened and said that he scolded them. They shouldn't have done that. Okay?
And what they were trying to do was to try to ask you to leave the party.
They tried to frighten me, to harass me, to threaten me, so that I can say, what will we do for this job or I leave, okay? And they are also asking me, leave this job because you are doing trial. The trial that I'm doing is not for offense committed during my tenure. It's offense committed before you were born.
And you were allegedly.
For useless offense being roped on me, for which I'm disappointed that you should have been on my defense to say this is okay. But it is that was not the point. The point was that I was being threatened, I was being harassed. Okay. So after the chairman intervened on their behalf, I thought everything was okay until they came again, okay? This time now with a letter.
Oh, wow.
So they wrote me a letter, resign, they harassed me, and so on, threatened me. Then 4 days later, the chairman intervened again. Okay? Because the chairman told me, ignore the first one, I ignored it. They did this one. I allowed the ignore of the chairman the first time to see me prevalent.
Right.
I didn't do anything.
Right.
So then the chairman intervened again. So they told me they were going to write letter, and I said, don't write letter. Why are you writing letter? Blah, blah, blah. But they have written letter, please ignore it. This is stupid, ignore it. I ignored it again. Okay? In fact, when they came that second time, I thought they came to beg me for the previous of the
previous threat.
Previous time. So, but the chairman said ignore it. I ignored it. Chairman intervened for the second time, for the third time. I said ignore it. I ignored it. Okay, until they came back again on the 25th of February to harass me, to give me another letter. And those letters, when you read them, you will see veiled threat there. You resign in your interest now. You do this. So it's not okay. Then I looked at the letter. They were forged documents. The letter-headed paper is a name that does not exist. In fact, one of them used SDP address, which is my own address, which is the address of the national chairman himself. Okay? Number 17, Nairobi Street, Wuse 2. Okay? This is fraud. He signed it as Secretary General. This is fraud. Okay? So 2 things that are reported to police is 1, harassment and threat to my safety, threat to my life. Because one of the encounters almost became physical.
Wow.
Yes. And then
2 of them coming to you.
No, yeah, one.
One of them, okay.
The Abubakar Dogara is just a masterminder.
Okay.
Okay. So I had an encounter with him only on the first time in January.
Right. Okay.
But the persistent one is the Dalami, who comes in every time.
From which state now?
Nasarawa.
Nasarawa.
Okay. He comes into my office. His office is in Nasarawa State. So he comes in to meet me at the headquarters.
Chairman in Nasarawa.
Yes.
Okay. So Doctor, what do you think is their motive? What's the purpose?
I don't care about the purpose. You want to hurt me, I fight back. Okay. So, because when you are going to that, you are becoming a TB Joshua, who will look at you and say something that tell you what is happening. What's my business with that? You came to me severally to harass me, to threaten me. So I wrote to IG about you. So when IG gets you, if there is any other person, I also told the IG that I don't think he's acting alone. Because sometimes he comes to my office, 2, 3 people, or a number of people I do not know are by my door and behind my door in the corridor.
Loitering around?
Yes. Okay? And the character is in front of me. So you cannot say, let me see or count or take photograph of the people. Okay, so it's but the police has his name and number now. And then now the IG is obliged to take action. Okay.
Yeah. The reason why I asked, and I understand your, explanation about it. The reason why I asked is because, it will seem as if
it looked like that. That's why I'm amused.
That they want to get you out because of the people that are coming.
It may be.
So that they can
but
take
if
your
they
position.
want to get me out, it is mouth that we used to get people out. And we did that 4 years or 8 years ago, 2018, when this kind of swell was coming up. That is how the present national chairman himself came. At that time, with Professor Jerry Ghana, a lot of big men, big names at that time. But we did not consummate it. Okay? And we must not make the same mistakes that we make at that time. Okay? If we all sit down, it's like merging of banks.
Right.
Okay? If you imagine two banks together, they can't have two MGs.
Yeah.
They can't have two. So we sit down and know what this bank will leave, what the bank will leave. It's not by sending armed robber to go to one bank manager's place to say, if you don't resign, we go kill you. But it's not correct.
Because I also remember that the SDP presidential candidate in 2023 actually said publicly that you had actually given up the position as the national
Exactly.
When was that?
That was 2022.
Because you are formerly the national chairman of the party.
Yes.
But
there was no way a presidential candidate can come from the south. Okay.
With you as
the chairman,
national chairman.
Then when the chairman is from the south, you are giving the signal that you want the president from the north.
From the north, yeah.
Then when now a presidential candidate was coming up from the southwest, where I come from.
Right.
Okay. Then now it cannot work now.
Interesting.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then because we did not want to lose the identity of what we stood for, because this platform is unlike the other platforms. The other platform is, there is no difference. It's also you go and take Bolekaja and go to your district. And when you get there, you don't care about it. We stand on principles. Okay? So, but we must win election. So when an influential person wants to come, or somebody with experience wants to come, he must follow the pattern that we have.
Okay, as we begin to wrap up, so there are speculations that even at that time, I don't know whether you want to make a comment on that, that the current president, President Tinubu, was actually even interested in coming to the party if he had missed the APC ticket.
He wrote so in the papers. They say he wrote in the papers, he said Plan B, and I remember going to meet Shehu, who was the secretary at that time, and Shehu Gabam, who is now
because when you were the chairman, and Gabam was the secretary.
And Gabam told me that, are you going to say that he did not talk to us? Are you going to say no, we are not Plan B? Okay, that this is free advert for us. Okay, but now, for instance, I've been hearing that they say Atiku is coming. Atiku and I are friends from the time he was, if you remember, when he was vice president. Yemi Ogunbiyi and I always had breakfast in his house, even though I was SA or minister at that time. Okay? And then we would go to his house, whether you see him or not, we would enter and eat and go away. Okay?
And then he later became minister.
Then became minister. Minister was still doing so until there was open fight
between the president and the vice president.
So you didn't want to look and see, because at that time, no minutes would be read to it. Okay?
Yeah, before the fight, there was no minute to read.
After the fight, we kept our distance just not to get labeled. Okay? But we were still friends. He still spoke to me about 1 week or less ago. He didn't say I am coming. Okay? But I cannot go to papers and say, all that rumor you are hearing, I think he's not coming. So these people came to us to say, if Obi come, will you take him? Of course, we told them yes. Okay? I was in that meeting. Okay? All right? Then some of them are still with us. Okay? saying that they are preparing ground, they are doing something, but you have to join SDP. You cannot be in Labour Party and come and be telling us Obi is coming without joining us. Otherwise, you can't open our doors for you.
Right.
Okay? But Obi may have no plan to come. Okay? And he may want to come. So people do all of this, but where we stand is that we must do well in our own platform. We will not allow people to come and sweep the people out from the place, okay? But we must synergize. We must maximize the opportunities.
Right.
Because these are people with a lot of experience, okay? Whatever anybody wants to say about El-Rufai, you cannot take his experience away. You cannot take his expertise away. You cannot take his energies away. And he has money. He got anybody who go and win election has money.
Resources.
Whether he's able to raise it or he had it from inheritance. Okay? So if he comes and joins the party, it's a plus. But we must find a way to work together with him.
Yeah. Okay. Which is my final question. That so, when you then have all these quote unquote big wigs that have contending interests, we know that Atiku, you wanted to be president. Peter Obi, who you said his people have come to you want to be president. Who knows whether Rufai wants to be president? Kwakwanso wants to be president. And then there's even Adebayo Adewale, who is who was the presidential candidate. I think he has even indicated that he's going to run again. So how do you intend to organize the party to manage all these disparate interests and still be able to come together? It's a challenge, isn't it?
It is. Then I believe that people who say, "Oh, don't worry, we fix it. We know they're lying to you. Okay? It's a very delicate, intricate issue. And I can quickly remind you that possibilities like this happened 2 times cycle away. When the so-called CUPP was planning, they got it wrong. They came together first, signed MOU, but what are we going to do? There was no plan. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. They had come in from the era of AOBJJ or OBJ. Okay? Any other body but
any other person but Jonathan. AOBJ, yeah.
So, but that they got anybody at the end of it. But they didn't get anything. So they started by putting people together. 39 parties and MOU in the public.
Under the CUPP?
Yes. Okay, they were powerful. So after they got together, they said, okay, well, what are we going to do? So they started to do blueprint and so on, okay, to say these are the principles and objectives that we will do.
Right.
Okay, so that is like putting the cart before the horse, okay, because they should have done that before they came together.
Right.
Then now that we did come together, there are 10, 20 presidential candidates. How do we select? How do we do this? So that process was done wrongly, and they failed. Which kind of situation do we want? We need to strengthen all the structures in the SDP. Okay? All right? Not import structures. Okay? We need to strengthen them. We need to preserve the integrity of SDP. Because once there's no honesty in the game, and somebody is trading this and trading that, some people will make money, but that system will collapse. Then now, finally, we need to have a situation where everybody has his own responsibility. Our own number one responsibility, which can help the convergence, okay?
Right.
Okay. Because they have come, we are not going to merge. Merging is where they say, change your name or do something, or give us a clean slate. We're giving nobody any clean slate.
You already have a slate.
We have the slate, so we're not cleaning it to give to anyone, okay? But we must be honest. We must deal honestly. Okay? It is only when we are all honest that Peter Obi can sit down, Odewale can sit down, Atiku can sit down. We have 8 presidents.
Presidential aspirants.
Yes. All right. Let me use 8. It could be 10, but they just call it 8.
Right.
And 7 of them are on our platform. We cannot. That platform cannot give 7 candidates out.
Only one thing.
If we take money to go and give it to the worst of them, we lose. If they go away and they form their own party to contest against Tinubu, Tinubu will win the election with 20% of the vote, and the 7 of them will lose with 80% of the vote. That is not what you want. Okay? So if they like to put INEC inside pocket, okay, and be doing it, it will not get anywhere.
If you get it
because
right.
we will be everywhere, and just imagine the resources that will come together. Okay, yeah, so many things have been marked. They will march. Amechi too is coming, according to what we are hearing. Okay, but Amechi has not spoken to anybody in the office. Okay, but the people speculators are already marching Amechi with Balami, marching this with this. Okay, if you do it that way, it will not work.
So, is SDP going to zone the presidency to the south or to the north, or you're going to open it for everybody?
Sir, honestly, I would say I don't think so. Okay? But it is not what it will be as I want. If all of us sit down to say that, because if Nigeria works well, how do you want to worry whether president is from Yola or from this city? Okay, so when we get to that, we will do so. But what we know now is that we are doing is not to do, South to do. Now Southwest is doing, and that's what we are doing at the moment. And the results is nothing. You don't get the South, the North suffered more in the 8 years of
northern.
Yes. Okay, and Buhari is not a lazy man. It's not that his government that he produced is upside down. The same thing we are seeing here now. Part of the reason why people are angry with Tinubu is this is a magician. He touches this, will be fine. He touches petrol, he goes up. He touches the unemployment, it becomes a bigger unemployment. Okay, so that is what everybody is saying. Then look at he should be able to resolve all that funny work in this day. But it became they are blowing pipeline, and you have to do this. Then now the backlash on that will be more worse than what he tried to solve.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Agunloye, for your contributions. Right all the way from 1988 when you were commercial, and then of course you became special advisor, federal minister, and now national secretary of the party. I can say that I know that you are a person of integrity, and so I am delighted that people like you are in politics. We need more people who love the country, and people who are honest, and people who have integrity. So thank you for your contributions, and thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much.
All right. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, as we continue the conversation on the future of our great country, I have a distinguished guest to engage today. He is Professor Ferdinand Ofodile, who actually is the first plastic surgeon in the United States to receive the award of Emeritus Professor in the Columbia University. He was also the second black surgeon to be elected a fellow of the American Society of Plastic Surgery. He's made tremendous contribution in that country around the issue of plastic surgery, and he has made Nigeria proud. I'd like to welcome him to Inside Sources. Prof, you're welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much.
And it's good to see you again, after a long time.
Absolutely.
We like the example that people like you represent, especially in the diaspora. So I normally start the conversation around the future of our country. Now I know that you have spent a lot of your career in the United States, but even you started actually here in Nigeria. If you look at where we are today as a country, what kind of future do you think is ahead of us?
What Nigerians want from their government is good governance, fairness, and a government that is committed singularly to the welfare of the population. Nigeria is blessed with human and natural resources. So what the government needs to do is supply the infrastructure, such as good roads, electricity, pipe-borne water, and the individuals will do a lot for themselves. The individuals will soar, Nigerians will soar, and if they soar, the country soars.
True.
There are several sectors that make up the economy of Nigeria. You have education, you have financial sector, industrial sector, tech, and of course health.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in other areas, but I can talk about health.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we've got a lot of challenges in the healthcare sector. And most of the problems are due to funding. The healthcare system is grossly underfunded. So Nigerian healthcare system is run mostly by the government with a modest partnership with the private sector.
Right.
So most of the funding comes from the government. And it's multi-layered. The federal government is in charge of tertiary care.
Okay.
And
the states,
the private, the hospitals, tertiary hospitals,
right, teaching
hospitals, yes, medical schools, health policy, and the insurance scheme.
Okay.
The states are responsible for secondary care.
Okay.
Okay, and state hospitals.
Right.
And they direct the local governments to implement their policies.
Right.
So there's that the local government, they are the interface between the government and the pop. And that's where the biggest failure is. They are underfunded. The facilities are deteriorated and inadequate. The personnel are undercompensated. So there's lack of will to walk the extra mile. And so what you have at that level is passive healthcare instead of active or proactive healthcare.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I like that you've analyzed the distribution of the responsibility, how the federal government takes care of tertiary, state government take care of secondary, and then the primary healthcare, by the local government, but of course under the direction of the states. So I wanted to ask you, because this is something that I also been reflecting on, the idea of universal health coverage in Nigeria, universal health insurance, if that's the way to do it. Is it a good idea for Nigeria?
Of course. If you have, just like universal primary education lifted the Western, if you have universal health insurance that functions, is going to solve a lot of problems. Right now, the the Nigerian health insurance scheme,
Right.
there's only 19% coverage.
Wow. Yeah.
So the rest of the people have to pay
Out of pocket.
And when you have rampant poverty, it means that
There's no pocket.
And people, and that's why you have people who suffer from all kinds of diseases. They're not going to the hospital until it's too late because they don't have the funds to pay for the services. Yeah. That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, because and the reason why I raised that question is because I spoke with Professor Tomori last week.
Yes.
He's also a virologist. We're also retired actually. Much younger than yourself anyway, but I think also an emeritus professor from the University of Ibadan. And I asked him the question of the health insurance also, and he also said that it's something that is desirable, but that it has to happen in steps. When the past president, Muhammadu Buhari, was leaving, he did leave a report, a report of a committee that was headed by the vice president with whom I work, where the idea of universal health insurance was proposed. And the reason for that is, just like you said, because of the poverty of the people. We felt that it is possible to get the people who can pay to pay, while the government pays for every other person who cannot pay. Because if we don't solve the problem of health, if we don't solve the problem of education, we are dealing with misery and we are dealing with diseases, and together it's a devastating poverty.
Yes, a crippling.
Exactly, crippling poverty. Yes. And so anytime I have a professor of medicine, a doctor, I always raise this question that what is the best way for us to solve those problems, especially of healthcare and education?
Well, the first order of things is to spend more on healthcare. Okay, right now Nigeria spends 4.5 to 5% of their budget.
That's the federal government.
Federal government on healthcare. Okay. Namibia spends 10% of their budget. Okay. So if you don't spend enough, then you can't provide the infrastructure, you can't pay for the personnel, you can't compensate them adequately. Their equipment are not adequate, right. Supply of drugs not adequate. Okay, so that's one thing. And then not to talk now of paying for everybody to have health insurance. So that's, if you don't have the funds allocated to those things, it's not doable. Yes, right. So until we are ready to devote the funds that are necessary, things are going to be just touch and go.
Interesting. Yeah. So that reminds me, about what you guys were able to do in Nobi.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Okay. So what?
And Nobi is in Anambra State, by the way.
Yes, Nobi is in Anambra State. When we know that the government can take care of everything.
Right.
Okay. So it's upon us now as individuals who have the capability to support the government by funding programs within our communities that will help
the people.
Okay. So in Nobi, we in 2015, I wrote an abstract transforming healthcare in the rural area. Stroke tripartite partnership That's including the diaspora, the local community, and the government.
The government.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, as opposed to, let's say, 50, 60 years ago, you have an educated group of people in most rural communities.
You're talking of community leaders.
Community leaders, the Igwes, the president generals of the unions, rich people,
right?
And the heads of church groups and women's groups,
right?
People who with whom you can have discussions and they understand where you are coming from.
Right.
Okay. And then you have a growing diaspora in the US and Europe.
Okay.
Nigerian diaspora is the most educated, the richest in one of the richest.
Most educated in the US.
In the US. And they remit about 20 to 25 billion dollars, which is about 6.1% of the budget of
True.
So if you can harness that diaspora, and they can instead of just giving money to my sister to go to school, my mother to buy some clothes, if they can join together,
right,
and fund a fundamental problem like healthcare. When you work with the community that understands and who can lobby the state government, and then you have these three factors coming together, and you have an impact on the community. So we've done that at NOBI.
Okay.
We formed a group called NOBI US Diaspora Health Group.
Okay.
And then later on added NOBI Hospital Restoration Group.
Okay.
And there are 19 of us.
Well, in the diaspora.
Who are in diaspora throughout. And we raise funds, and we contribute, and we try to rehabilitate institutions within that, like the hospital. They abandoned Novi General Hospital. So we've rehabilitated that, painted it, changed all the windows, changed all the toilets. We provided a borehole.
Okay.
And connected the borehole to the hospital. So every doctor's office, the labs, the toilets have pipe-borne water now.
Interesting.
Okay.
I mean, I remember, because I wanted us to also talk about that you made history in the United States. I mean, this was how I found out about you, and I wanted to talk about it. I remember, of course, the big issue that came up when Michael Jackson, late Michael Jackson now, wanted to have a plastic surgery, and Michael Jackson felt that he needed to look like a Caucasian, and I think part of the problem was that at that time, there hasn't been any serious plastic surgery meant for black people. You came up with the model of the implants, that fitted, black people. Which was historic. That, like I said, that was how I met you. Can you tell our audience the story of what happened?
Okay. So for a long time, the standard of beauty has been the Roman Greco standard, Greece,
right,
or the European standard. And so that's the people who live in the States, for example.
Right.
Yeah, if the actors, the singers,
the celebrities,
they want to look exactly. Okay, so that was driving the type of plastic surgery that they had. They're just trying to
make them
look more Caucasian.
Because that was supposed to be the standard of beauty.
The standard of beauty. But, and then when you looked at plastic surgery books, you'll find references to black features as negroid. You know, with the tint exactly that inferior and needs to be changed. Okay,
which was why Michael Jackson wanted
exactly
white implants.
So when I came back and became chief of plastic surgery at Harlem,
in New York,
you look at black people. There are so many beautiful women here. Okay. With all these features that they describe as negroid. So I said, no, you can't have this pejorative definition of black features. Yeah. So we started doing the research and writing about it. So we measured the noses of hundreds and hundreds of people, and then analyzed and published the classification in the medical literature.
Okay.
And we gave lectures and so on and so forth. Okay. And if the typical negroid nose, as they describe it, has a low bridge or curved.
Right.
The tip is fat.
Right.
And the nostrils are wide.
Right.
Compared with the Caucasian. Okay. So those who want to change those features now are doing radical surgery to narrow the nose, and they put the only implants available were the Caucasian implants, which were thin and high.
Yeah. So they were forcing the Caucasian implants on
the black nose.
As a matter of fact, until you change the perception, even people like Michael Jackson thought that was the right thing to do.
You see, but the paradoxical thing is that if you put a very thin implant on a black nose, it makes the face look wider. So there's disharmony, incongruity, as they described it in this. So I designed an implant that was more moderate. Yes, it wasn't very thin. It was more moderate, and it was higher because. So when you have moderate augmentation, a moderate reduction of width, you have more harmony. And that was the idea.
Interesting.
Yes.
And so, and that was how black people started to have the option of their whole, something that was more implants, that were more attuned to their facial.
As I say, when you do plastic surgery, for example, of the nose, it has to be racially sensitive. That's you can't just ignore the race of a person. Right. We call it maintaining ethnicity. So you can't go overboard. And it has some racial sensitivity in what you do.
Interesting. Interesting. And I saw that you just wrote a book, Changing Perception and Changing Lives. And reading through it, I saw how it is that the society has received those implants. Can you tell us, so when after you made, you developed those implants, how was it received by the American society, especially the black community?
Well, after the studies appeared in the literature,
Oh, well, there was even a front page story in Philadelphia Inquirer.
Exactly. There was a conference of what they call the World Conference on Rhinoplasty.
Okay.
So all the big guys in nose surgery were gathered there. So they invited me.
Okay. Do you remember when this was?
1994.
Okay. Right.
And so I spoke there. I showed this new study.
Was this the conference in Philadelphia?
In Philadelphia.
Okay.
Everybody was fascinated. So there were some journalists in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah. After the conference, the next one in Philadelphia Inquirer carried it on their first page.
Yeah, I saw that with your photo.
And the ABC 6 o'clock
the
TV station carried it during their during their night program. So it was well received, and I presented it all over the world.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much for all that you represent among the diaspora in the United States and your services here. I want you as a final question to advise the presidency on one issue that you think is most pertinent. If you were to have an audience with him, what will you say to him?
The president has a good chance to reverse the morals of poverty and suffering that we have in the country. And if he governs as the president of all the people, and is fair to everybody, both those who voted for him and those who didn't vote for him, I think it will have a great legacy because it will show people that you don't have to be vindictive because it doesn't do the country any good.
Right.
But if you govern as the president of everybody, you can solve problems.
Yes, that's very true, and I agree with you.
Yes,
that poverty is one of the real problems that we are dealing with, and I'm sure that they are listening, to your counsel. And thank you so much, for coming to Inside Sources. Thank you for being a shining example. Though I know that you are now retired, most people won't believe that you are 83 going on 84.
Now you are telling my secret.
So thank you for what you represent. Yes. Thank you for your contributions, and thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you for inviting me.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. It means that Nigeria will win because we will continue to engage the issues. Thank you for watching. My name is Laolu Akonde, and by the grace of God, I'll see you at the next edition.